evening with bullshit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Jacobson, and tonight we will be discussing violence in video games. Is it really an issue? 97% of children ages 12 to 17 play video games, and over half of the top 50 video games contain at least some form of violence, according to a non-partisan study by VideoGamesProCon.com. Issues with violence in video games range from desensitization with our children in these video games to violence in real life, bullying of kids in school, harassment of women, among some many other issues. Tonight, I have my panelists with me. If you want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Rusty D. Bustum. The D stands for D, PhD.
I'm Bill Slide, the video game guy.
And I'm Shy Monroe.
And to get us started tonight, we will first bring up the issue of harassment with women. Do you guys find that this really happens in video games?
I don't think so. I play video games a lot, and it's not anything I really notice. I like to play multiplayer games a lot, and people just tend to work as a team usually.
Okay. I mean, I think there's some harassment of women in there. I have a little 13-year-old back at home, and the things I hear him yell at the TV, he always says he's not talking to girls, but I don't know, I don't hear what's going on in that headset, so I don't know if you guys have any experiences with that yourselves.
Xbox Live is a breeding ground of misogyny and bad language and little children thinking they're grown up, saying whatever they want to. Where are the parents? That's my question. Where are the parents?
Well, the parents are upstairs, and we know what's going on, and we feel that by the time that the child is age 7, and researchers have come along with this as well, that children can distinguish fantasy from reality, and they can tell the difference between video game violence and real world violence. So therefore, they'd be able to tell between harassment as well.
I'm still 57, and I am yet to distinguish that difference. So I'm going to have to pleasantly disagree with that.
Then grow up.
Do you think at age 7 they can differentiate this violence?
Absolutely.
How so? Like, I don't even know if they can do abstract math at that point.
Well, I think that, kids see fantasy violence all the time. They see Harry Potter or the Minions, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. They all have fantasy and violence in them.
Yeah, but video games are getting so realistic with their graphics these days that that's not like Bugs Bunny cartoons anymore and Iron falls on Wile E. Coyote and he gets back and bounces up. These are like games. These parents are buying these games for their children, rated 17 plus, and they're just slicing up these characters apart. They're blowing up. It's worse than like realistic. Like, this is why I think the desensitization of violence is happening with the children these days.
That doesn't mean anybody's going to go and do that in real life. Like I said, I play violent video games. I don't want to do any of that stuff. That's all a fantasy world.
I play violent video games too, and I want to do that to you right now.
Well.
But violent games, they allow the youth to also experiment with moral issues, such as war and death. And they can do this without the real world consequences.
What do you think the impact this has on them, though?
More empathy.
Okay, and
I agree with
empathy towards like their own country, towards other soldiers, or just what type of empathy are you looking for?
Well, I think it's just a broad, general empathy that they can distinguish between the violence.
I mean, you have empathy. You play different roles in different games, so it's not always the same exact thing. So you get to see things from different perspectives. And that's the kind of empathy we're talking about here. Being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Okay, then how about the school shootings that have happened? I heard there was just another shooting today just across the country here over in New Jersey, and that happened they said that it was another influence from some video games such as like Call of Duty and Halo and these things. They feel invincible. They see these soldiers that's going in and killing off for like such issues right now, and you have ISIS and other things going on in the world, so people feel justified going around and fighting like these different people of these other ethnicities and these other backgrounds, and they think that the video games support it because they've been playing these games that's saying this is okay, I'm fighting against these people, so when they do it in real life they feel justified. Do you think video games justify these shootings, or?
No, I think it's more of a mental health issue.
Let me tell you something, Mike. Back when I was in school, we didn't hear about school shootings ever. Now I'm hearing about new ones every day. School is an institution of learning, okay? Nothing more. Why are all these schools getting shot up?
Well, I'd say, like you said before, it comes back to the parents. Where are the parents? You can't just blame video games. Maybe it's the parents' fault. Maybe they didn't raise them right.
Were parents not existent in the 60s? My parents certainly weren't, but I tell you what, some parents were there.
Well, they're there now, and it's happening now. Just because it happened in the 60s doesn't mean it's not that it has to be the same way now.
I tell you what, I look at my my barracks in my recent Call of Duty game. What's your kill-death ratio?
Pretty high up there, 1.5.
Why am I even asking? People go around bragging about their kill-death ratios. It's a number that they're happy to do. I killed X amount of people per one time I die.
That's a
Is
statistic.
this leaving a bad-
No. That's a statistic, as in you're doing good in the game.
Well, yes,
It's a
but
competitive game. You're doing better than somebody else.
I'm happy to go into a game and kill 35 people and walk away dying only 5 times. I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. In real life, you go around killing 35 people, you know,
Like you said, and die 5 times. That's not going to happen in real life because this is a fantasy world. No children are going to make that distinction. There's a clear difference, don't you think?
Definitely. And I can tell you that I just bought my son some video games. Call of Duty is one of them. Halo is another one. And I am 100% confident that he's not going to go shoot up a school.
Let's move the issue a little bit then from like the shootings, and I see there's some disagreement here. How about the bullying in school? Do you think these video games are creating more bullying in the schools? Because you just said you bought your kid who is probably like around 15, 14, and these games are rated 17 plus. It's meant for someone who has their mind developed enough to understand that this is wrong, blah, blah, and not to bring this back to like their schools. But you're always hearing issues of these kids being made fun of in school, you know, blah, blah. It's bringing up just like more aggression. Do you think video games are a cause of this?
Well, in my case, our school district that they've grown up in has always been, or has been since a young age, one-to-one technology. And so they have learned the social responsibility aspect of using technology, video games. And so it's a form of social entertainment for them. They get online with their buddies, and no, I don't think there is bullying going on.
What do you think?
well, I tell you what, my son comes home every day and tells me about how his friends have been ripping on him nonstop because he can't break the 1.0 threshold. I don't know what that means, but I'll tell you what, he seems very distraught by it. I have to keep throwing money at him day in and day out to get him to stop bugging me.
Well, didn't this happen before video games were a thing? Didn't children bully other children? That's just how kids are nowadays, and that's how they've always been.
Well, you can't justify that behavior.
Why not?
Where are the teachers? Somebody needs to be stopping this. My son is getting picked on because he sucks at video games, and I can't stand it, okay?
Well, I do think we are running out of time on some of these issues right now. So if you all want to just make one more last point on what your stance is and what you truly believe, please let us know.
Again, I am Shai Monroe, and I do not believe that video games cause violence.
I am Bill Sly, and I'm in agreement with Shia here. Just because you find that a young man committed a crime and also played a popular video game such as GTA or Halo, it's as pointless as pointing out that the criminal also wore socks that day.
I'm Rusty D. Bustum, and I am extremely against violence in video games. We see day in and day out the kind of trauma that they can have in my children and everybody else's children. And frankly, I think these two are wrong.
I'm Mike Jacobson. I'm the moderator here. I try to take a neutral stance. And tonight this has been an evening with bullshit. My real name is Storm Walsh. I took the moderator stance, and this has been a philosophy with like fallacies and using some bullshit, all sorts of philosophy style language with different stances. If you guys want to reintroduce yourselves and let them know what your stance was and what type of arguments you used.
I'm William Walter, and I was against the violence in video games for using bullshit arguments.
I'm Kevin Alushai. I was for allowing violence in video games, and I was using an adamant amount of bullshit too.
And I'm Kelly Dahmen, and I was for violence in video games, and I had the dogmatic approach.
Thank you.